be charged for it.
Did you clock out?
Yeah, 3 o'clock. We were at the bar, Milford Sports Bar. We had a couple of glasses of wine and food.
Was that today or
Well,
yesterday?
That was Wednesday. That was last Wednesday.
Wow.
And then my sister invited me over her house Friday night, and we had some more wine. Because I was still wasn't good.
All right, let's see. Make sure that I'm on. Welcome if you're all here. I think I've got it right. So I know it takes a minute once you're in. Guess what this week is?
Valentine's Day's Friday.
It's Valentine's Day. So we're going to be talking about some Valentine, heart issues, that kind of thing, which we usually talk about on Valentine's Day. Not sure if anybody's in yet, so I will give a quick update. My personal journey is going very well. And I'll talk about Karen in a minute, but she's doing awesome, by the way. But we'll talk about her in a few minutes. I just looking on here to make sure that everything's going well. If you're in here, Brenda, can you see and hear me? Just go ahead and say something, and I'll say a quick hi to everybody. There. Hi, Brenda Matties. How are you? It's good to see you. So welcome to Live with Kim. We will be live in just about 30 seconds. I mean, we are live, but we'll start the meeting in just about 30 seconds. I will say this again at the end of the meeting. Yes, awesome. As you can see and hear. The update has been made to the site, and we tested it today, and there was a glitch. So we couldn't go live tonight, but we'll be working with them again. And now that I know it's 99% done, I feel pretty confident we'll be able to live stream YouTube on the site and then save the meeting. So that'll be great. It's good to see you too. How are you doing with your weight loss program? I don't want to talk about Karen just yet. Am I allowed to say what you've been going through? It's not like it's private.
No.
Susie! Hi, Susie Schofield. How are you? Thank you. I'm so glad. So I've had a great week. It's been quite a turnaround in the last couple of weeks. It feels really good. And I have that quiet place where I had when I was losing my weight, where I talk about it because I'm here with you guys, but I'm not all like excited and into it. Not that I'm not excited or into it, but I'm more just wait and see. It's coming. The visual is coming. And those closest to me, like Jackie was walking behind me yesterday, and she said, I can see a difference. I said, yeah, that's really the caboose is where I got to lose it. Tammy Berry from Florida. It was fun texting with you the other evening. It's good to see you. She wasn't much difference not much difference. I guess it was still 20 degrees. Her low was in the 40s. And our high was in the 40s and our low was in the high 20s. So just seems like we have had a super warm winter, which is kind of scary, if you know what I'm saying, global warming. But it's also, and I know that there is global warming. I mean, it's an indisputable fact. You look at the polar ice caps and everything. And I said to the kids, we're not the warmest winter on record. In the teens, the 1917 or something like that, 13 was one of the warmer winters, and there was another one since then warmer than this one. So it's not just the fact that we've had a really warm winter, but it's been really enjoyable not to have to deal with the snow, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And we did have a white Christmas. Wasn't it pretty? Little few traces of snow. Maybe in the dirty pile, some yellow snow left over. Cautiously excited. Good. Warm for Michigan too. Yeah, I think it's just a warm year. So happy almost Valentine's Day to all of you. So it will be Thursday. is Valentine's Day? Friday. What a perfect day for Valentine's Day. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday is Valentine's Day. So we're going to be talking about the heart, which I usually do during Valentine week. And I have some exciting news. I'm going to talk about metabolic syndrome. A lot of you may have heard the term. It's not as popular a term as probably it should be. There are 5 indicators for whether you have metabolic syndrome or not, and you do not, Karen.
Okay.
But I do. But I'm going to tell you why it's exciting. So let's talk about the markers for it. The first marker is abdominal obesity. So that is when your stomach circumference, if you get out one of those old-fashioned tape measures, the circumference for men if it's greater than 40 inches and women if it's greater than 30 inches. So write this down. And if you have 3 out of 5 of these markers, you have metabolic syndrome. And I'm going to tell you why that's exciting. I know it sounds really stupid. Let me see what everybody's saying. She had a green Christmas. Well, technically we did too, but there was a little couple of frozen patches around, so I don't know. I think we had a pinch of white here and there. So number 1 is your abdominal obesity. That's your visceral fat. This is the fat around your organs. That's why it's more important health-wise than the arm flaps or the thigh jiggles or the big booty. If it's around your organs, technically, you most likely have a fatty liver and other things that are just not real healthy. So abdominal obesity, men greater than 40 inches, women greater than 30. That's check, you have 1. Number 2, elevated triglycerides. So a lot of these tests you can do at home. This one you need to have a blood work for. So the next time you go for blood, this is something that you can look at. Triglycerides, you all know that's a type of fat found in the blood. So unlike cholesterol, which is a plaque in the walls of the arteries and veins, triglyceride is a fat found in the blood. Normal is anything under 150. So borderline is 150 to 199. High is 200 or to 499, and if you have higher than 500, that's super high. So look at your triglycerides. A lot of times nowadays you can look up your blood work online. I mean, I have a whole doctor network, and they post mammograms and results and all kinds of stuff, so I'm sure I could go and look up my blood work. Something I think I should do. The next thing, I know everybody's thinking high cholesterol, but really what they look at is reduced good cholesterol. What's your good cholesterol? It's your HDL. So think happy cholesterol. H is for happy, is your good cholesterol. And if it's not high enough, that's a marker for them. Men, it needs to be, if it's less than 40, that's not good. And women, if it's less than 50, that's not good. So you want it to be 50 or above so that you have more good cholesterol, because it combats the bad cholesterol and it helps pull some of those plaques away from the walls. So we've got abdominal obesity with visceral fat. We've got triglycerides, which is fat in your blood. We've got reduced good cholesterol. Third thing is increased blood pressure. So now they're all saying within 10 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Is that what it is? Within 10 points. Now they're saying 130 over 85. Somebody was telling me it was 120 over 75, but for years it's been 130 over 85, and you don't want it higher than that. So that's something that if you have a blood pressure kit at home or you go to your local Walmart, you can do that next time you're shopping. Sit down, take a deep breath, relax, put your arm in the machine and have your blood pressure taken. Last one is elevated fasting blood cholesterol. So in other words, if your cholesterol, so this is your overall cholesterol, if it's greater than 100, equal to or greater than 100, then that's a sign of concern. You want to be under 100. So those are 5 points. And if you have 3 or more of these 5 symptoms, you have metabolic syndrome. According to the American Heart Association, Of the 5, it's estimated that more than 50 million Americans are at risk. What are we at risk for? The standard heart disease, diabetes, stroke, things like that. That's what we're at risk for. And why is this good news? Why is it good news if you have metabolic syndrome? Because there's a lot of things that you can get that are not reversible. Metabolic syndrome is not one of them. It can be reversed. You can have good health. And if you're above ground and kicking, then you are still in the able to reverse stage. That's why it's exciting. And instead of burying our heads in the sand, if we know our numbers, it's all about knowing your numbers. We're all focused on the number on the scale. And that's an indicator of this. But as you see, overweight is not one of the indicators they look for. It's the results of the overweight. However, there are a few things we can do to turn it around. Let me just say hi again to everybody. While we're doing this, I'm going to move on in 2 seconds to another matter of the heart, and that is loving ourselves. And there are a lot of ways when we're struggling and sometimes falling on our faces with weight loss, which how many years have we been doing this for?
Too many.
Too many. We can say some very unkind, unloving things. So I want you to put on the screen things that you think that you say that are not loving, or things that you say that are loving yourself or doing. So start putting those things in. I'm going to get to that next. So let's talk about corrective measures. First one is weight loss. It's not just to be able to get in the skinny jeans, which is important. Because why? It's not just to be able to increase or raise our self-esteem, lift our depressive mood, feel good about ourselves, have more confidence. It's not just that. It's really all about the health. So even 10% of your body weight can vastly improve your health. Now I've almost hit 18 pounds with 17 point something. And the difference I have felt in my feet and in my walking ability, now I had gotten pretty bad, and it was really impacting me. I was feeling it physically, and I finally said, "You just gonna keep doing this?" And I think one of the things I said to myself is, we think that one thing doesn't matter, and it's really feeding the bad wolf. And most of my members know what that means. It just propels it forward and onward. So it's drawing a line in the sand. So many meeting topics we've talked about in the past. So weight loss can correct some of these numbers. Increased exercise. Yes, you've all heard it. Lose weight, move more. So even if you do 3 days a week. Now, Karen, you do 3 days at home or 2 days at home.
I try to do.
Come on up and talk for a second. We're going to talk about what you've been going through, talk about stress.
Yeah. I have one night of yoga, and then I try to work out at home 3 to 4 times a week.
So you're doing 20 to 30 minutes or more a day, 4 to 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And honestly, that would be minimum. It's a great routine. It's helped her lose weight. It's a good lifestyle. But they say 20 to 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week is what they're looking for now, not just 5 days a week. But what she's doing is excellent. Don't leave, because we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Work towards a goal of 30 minutes a day. So if you are doing what Karen's doing, kudos to you. You're doing great. It's livable. It's shoot for on those off days of maybe doing something. Don't make it so that you're failing if you're not, because that's just going to mess with the head.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's doing great. It's a very livable. It's excellent. Wonderful. She's healthy. But what we want to shoot for is the 5 days a week, 30 minutes a day, according to the powers that be. And you want to do a combination of cardiovascular and muscle building, strength exercises. They say strong is the new sexy. So,
well, I got to work on that.
No, your yoga is more strength.
Yeah, but I
Do you
wanna
have poses?
Yoga poses? Yeah.
Yeah. Can I see a pose?
No, they're most of them are
On the floor?
It's
Like if I put my foot up here,
Oh.
like this, and I
well, yeah.
like did this.
Okay.
Is that like the tree or like this?
Yes.
Oh, look at you! And you're balancing.
Yeah.
Good girl. I can't wait till my
couldn't
weight
do
goes
that.
down.
I couldn't do that a few years ago.
Stand in. Okay. Maintain a healthy diet. So I'm not talking weight loss. I'm talking about what it is that makes up those calories. So whole grains. Adam has gone totally vegetarian. Did you know that?
No.
He's gone vegetarian.
Wow.
He's been doing it for about 6 months now. It's pretty easy to cook that way. I know Robbie, I don't know if she's in here tonight. She's vegan. I've been cooking some vegan meals for some clients, and they're so stinking yummy.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Low sugar, low salt, high fiber, whole grains, low fat dairy, and
how's gluten
lean
free?
protein. Gluten free is excellent. Carb free is a concern because you're cutting out a whole
Right.
food group. Now I know some people really like the keto, caveman diet, things like that.
Those don't work for me.
Whenever you take away a whole food group, it's got to be replaced by something. But definitely gluten free is very healthy.
Okay. Good.
Not having the gluten, so the gluten is in the wheat.
Yeah.
And so you could get your carbs from beans. You could get it from rice. Adam's having rice for dinner. He cooked it. He's probably waiting for the meeting to be over so he can eat his dinner. And he always does tons of vegetables. So lean proteins. So those are the kinds of things we're looking for. Not just the calories, but what makes up the calories. All right, I'm going to start looking at some of the comments. And limiting your alcohol.
Yeah.
I've heard it's good for you to have alcohol, like a drink a day. Men, no more than 2 drinks a day max. Women, 1 drink a day or none. But although I've heard that wine is really good cardiovascularly, but I
Red.
don't know.
Red
Red wine.
wine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So talk about stress. And, that's not in here, but trying to live a stress-free lifestyle. So Karen, as you can see, works for Subway. Now, Karen's has totally changed her lifestyle. And when I wasn't doing meetings for the 6 weeks, and she weighs in here every week, never fails. She's a sweetheart. She was still losing. She came back with a big weight loss through the holidays when we weren't meeting. And usually that's the mentality of vacation, not just from meetings, but from your diet. And so she's really turned it around. They had 300 layoffs at work yesterday.
Well, last Wednesday.
Last
It was
Wednesday.
last Wednesday. Yeah.
They actually even but they forethought and had the police there in case anybody just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So talk about stress. There's been layoffs prior to that, and there will be more layoffs.
There could be, yeah, but
Could be.
nothing like what we just went through.
Like that one day where
Yeah.
you're sitting in a room and everybody's sent to a meeting, and if you're asked to bring your laptop, there's a good chance
You're gone.
to the meeting you're gone,
You're gone.
and it's right next to the room next to you. And
Yeah, my department was right next to the break room that this happened in, and we would see, I like to say it was like the herd of cattle going in to be slaughtered. That's what it felt
yeah,
like.
that's what it felt like. And
Yeah.
good friends, and
Yeah.
really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you don't know if you're on that list.
No.
So
Until you get called to a meeting,
Right.
if you go in that room, you knew it wasn't good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of stress. She's doing awesome. So keep up the good work.
Thank
One
you.
thing you've learned is food doesn't
It doesn't, no, it's
doesn't
not the
help.
answer.
It's not the answer. It feels like the answer in the moment until we've broken from that long enough. And the problem is we don't give ourselves that longevity away from it oftentimes of dealing. Now you've done almost a year now.
It's
Over a year.
It's over a year. Yeah.
So you've gone through a lot of seasons, a lot of holidays, a lot of special events, a lot of emotions, and you've gone through a breakup, you've gone through layoffs, you've gone through job stress, and still plugging away. So that's when you know, not that you can't walk away from that. So I am the example. I tell everybody I gained this weight so that you could see that it could be done after you'd really gotten it. As a precaution, but no, I did not do it for that reason. But it is an example of how you can really have it and lose it again. So it's something you just need to live. Just need to constantly live. Just such an easy 4-letter word, right? All right. So we're going to talk for a minute about loving ourselves, because it's very easy when we are, you can chime in also.
I will.
It's very easy to not love ourselves well. And one thing I've always likened it to is things that we say to ourselves. Imagine saying that to your child, your spouse, your best friend, a stranger on the street. We're kinder to everybody else than we are ourselves. So let me see what some people are saying. Brenda said, I decided that I am not dieting this way. Oh, Brenda's always had low blood pressure. Now, my mom was ill. As most of you know, she had low iron. It was some ridiculous number. I don't know what the iron is supposed to be. I knew the day that she was in there. It was supposed to be, I want to say 50s, 60s, 70s. I don't know. But it was like 5, 8. So she actually had to have blood transfusions. Mm-hmm. And she'd been feeling, we're having a big 80th for my mom and Clem. Clem turned 80 on Andrew's birthday. My stepdad has the same birthday as my son Andrew. So on February 3rd, they both turned 80. Andrew turned 19, he turned 80. And my mom will be turning 80 in June. And so the one thing they wanted was all of their family together. So everybody is flying here, and in my yard, we're having an 80th birthday party weekend with 50 people. It'll be a lot of fun. But for a little while there, I was like, is she going to make it to her 80th? She was so weak. And do you know what she has? She weighs 138. I mean, she looks fabulous. Yeah. And she's active. She's still on the treadmill. And she has high blood pressure for the first time in her life. So, I mean, they've given her iron, they gave her the transfusion, and she entertained us all for dinner and made bouillabaisse last night. So, she's back to her old self, just about. But health is everything, isn't it? And it's amazing how some of the high blood pressure can be hereditary, some of it, But what do we say to ourselves when we're feeling discouraged? Let me get back to that. Hi, Maggie Murphy. It's good to see you. Let's see. Oh, Tammy's got to have a hip replacement. So that you don't have. So this is going to be really good for you, because I've known so many people that have had hip replacements, and they're up running around the next day.
My sister had both.
Your sister had both, and she feels like a new woman.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be so good for you, Tammy. See if we can spin anything positive or negative, right? Prayers for Tammy is right. We'll be praying. So let us know when you're going in. Bye, Tammy. We'll see you soon. Okay, so what are some of the things? I'm going to give you a few examples. What are you doing? You are just stuffing your face again. You fat pig. You are so huge. Trying to think of some of the things I've said to myself in the past. I remember one time, and I wrote about it in my book, looking in the mirror when I was about 3:30 on my way up. So I still had more to go. And I remember thinking, you don't look human. You look male. Not that males aren't human, but you look so awful. But enjoy it, Kim, because a month from now, you're going to wish you looked this good. Because I knew I was increasing and I couldn't stop eating. Or I wasn't stopping eating. And the things we say to ourselves, you failed again, you can't do anything right, you know you're not going to do it. What?
Was that donut worth it?
Was that donut worth it? Or on the flip side, we'll say, you deserve a donut. You've had a really stressful day. A lot of people got laid off. It could have been you. You deserve to have 3 extra drinks. You deserve, and that's not loving yourself either.
No.
We crucify ourselves. And You have to think, what would you say to a stranger? When you say to yourself, I just can't do this. What would you say to me if I said, Karen, I just can't do it. I can't turn it around.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. One day at a time. You can do it. Why don't you try texting me? Reach out and get some help. You got this. You've done it before. You can do it again. It's a mindset change. That first step is the hardest, but you can do it. That's loving yourself. And you deserve love. You know, so many times we kind of correlate how we think we look with how valuable we are. And other people should get the promotion. Other people should get the better job. Other people should get hired. Other people will want to sit with me at the event. Other people will want to sit with her and not me because I'm overweight and she's not. We have this mental negativity, and I know some of it comes about from society, but I think a lot of it's just us ourselves really beating ourselves up. And what is that going to do for you? You know who wants you to beat yourself up? Satan. He loves it when you beat yourself up because you're just nailing yourself into the ground. And it's really hard from telling yourself, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, to turn around and do it. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So a lot of this is self-talk is one of the most powerful, that each time I have turned my weight loss around, I've done it with self-talk. Now, maybe some other tools too, but it is the most powerful tool depending on what you're saying to yourself. If you're saying you're not going to do it, you've done it before and failed, what makes you think you're going to get just so far and fail? Instead of saying, all I have to worry about is today, and I know I can do it today. I will do it today.
You're setting yourself up to fail.
Setting yourself to fail when you do that. So Karen's right. All right, so a lot of things to think about this Valentine's Day. So I'd really like you to think about making yourself your own Valentine. You don't have to physically make one, but be your own Valentine. Love yourself well. Give yourself that encouragement and pat on the back verbally inside your head and shoo any negativity away because it's just going to pull you down. It's just going to take it longer for you to do the work you know you have to do. Sure, it's hard work. Sure, you may have metabolic syndrome. I know I do for the first time in a long time. But you know what? It's reversible. God's given me the time and the opportunity to be able to reverse this. So this week, it's all about the heart and love. And know that I love you guys very, very much. I'm glad you're here with me tonight. Look up some light recipes on the site. There's some delicious chocolate cupcakes. There's a, look up anything flourless. Flourless chocolate cake is delicious. Look up, it's also gluten-free. But it's my favorite chocolate recipe. It's like a huge brownie, isn't it? They're so good. And look up, look up bouillabaisse, not on my site, but online. My mom's bouillabaisse, and I haven't put the recipe in yet, but she took some shredded carrots and onion in a tablespoon for the whole pot of olive oil. And then after she had cooked that, she put some fish in, big, just chunks like this big, of white fish. And I browned it on both sides, and then the skin peeled right off. There was a few pieces of skin on. And then we dumped in a can of diced tomatoes. She used the fire hot tomatoes, which have so much seasoning in it. It's not spicy by the time you're done because you're adding other liquids. Then you add 6 or 8 cups of either chicken broth, vegetable broth, some kind of a fish broth if you want. We used, I think, vegetable broth. And then you just dump in a bag of shrimp, bag of scallops, bag of lobster chunks. It's not an inexpensive dish. And it's all cover and let it come to a boil. And then it only takes like 30 minutes to make. It's mostly dumping frozen things. It is expensive, but if you want to do a treat for yourself and somebody you love on Valentine's Day, that would be a great thing to make. So bouillabaisse, look it up. All right, guys, you have a wonderful week. I will see you next Monday night with another meeting, and it's really good to see everybody. Mwah. Happy Valentine's Day. Faith, hope, and love, these 3. The greatest of these is love. recording. And stop stream.